Today I'm doing spring ramen. Now this doesn't have to be spring ramen. As the season progresses, you can substitute some other vegetables and make it summer ramen or fall ramen. Today I'm doing spring. So what I've got here is a half a block of ramen noodles. These generally cost around 17 to 25 cents or so at the supermarket. You simply break it in half, and that's what we're going to be using. This we're going to throw away. We don't need it. We're going to add all kinds of other awesome flavors. That's going to reduce the sodium content. There is some fat in there though, so it's definitely not going to be fat-free. So 1 cup of boiling water is going to go over our half a block of ramen, and you're going to let it set about 10 minutes. Now you can do this here because the other vegetables are going to require some cooking, and we can come back and drain that. So you don't have to start it 10 minutes ahead, but when it has set for around 10 minutes, just drain it off and set it aside until you're ready to use it. At this point, we're going to go on to the next step, which is to heat the pan, and we're going to add about a teaspoon of vegetable oil. I forgot to mention to you one key point, that this is a recipe for one person. I have a lot of ingredients here, so keep in mind that while this is a recipe for one person, if you're doing it right now and expecting to have it for lunch, you're going to be involved. However, a lot of this cutting and chopping can be done ahead of time so that the actual combining of ingredients isn't going to take nearly that long. I've got a teaspoon of, in this case, peanut oil, but you could use other oil, whichever one you happen to have. And to that, I'm going to add a substantial amount of garlic for one person. So I've got a tablespoon of minced garlic. That's about 3 average-sized cloves. And we're going to let that stir around just real briefly because we don't want it to get too dark. So let it start to sizzle just a little bit. And then to that, I'm going to stir in half a cup of red bell pepper and half a cup of shredded carrots. Now if you're doing this from the market, you can buy the carrots already shredded and save a little bit of time. And that is in fact what I did. However, that does mean they may cook a little bit faster than if you used a different kind of shred on your own. So you want to stir these well so that everything's coated with oil. And then we're going to cover it, and depending on how finely those carrots are shredded, you're going to cook it for about 1 to 2 minutes. I'm going to try it for about 1 because these are fairly fine and I don't want them to get overly limp. All right, stir it around just a tad. We're going to now stir in 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. And they're going to recover it again and let it cook again about another 2 minutes or so, depending on how fine. Again, because these carrots are finely shredded, I'm going to give it 1 minute. Okay, you notice we have a little bit of fading with the red bell peppers. If you don't have red bell peppers, you can use another color. I liked red because it's going to contrast with some asparagus and give it a little bit more pop later on. So I've got about a half a cup of asparagus spears that are cut in about 1-inch pieces. Half a cup of mushrooms, again sliced. You don't have to do excessively thin, but those are going in there as well. And then we're going to add some seasoning to this. I've got some tamari sauce, which is just about 1/4 of a teaspoon, and then a half a teaspoon of sriracha. So if you're not a hot person, remember this is for one person, so I didn't think it was too hot when I ate it, and I'm a mild kind of person, so it should be okay. Then you're going to continue stirring it once in a while. You don't have to stir it all the time. It's not really a stir-fry kind of thing. And some of these vegetables are going to release some additional moisture as well. The tamari sauce is simply a soy sauce that is made without wheat, so that it could be framed as gluten-free. It's got a little bit different flavor. It comes in the same sorts of varieties that you get with regular soy sauce, so that you can get full flavored soy sauce with all the salt in it, or you can get the reduced salt soy sauce and so on. And the same happens with tamari. So if you want to use it or you want to try it, it's kind of fun to try something new. If you can't find it, but you have soy sauce in the refrigerator, just go with that one, you'll be fine. You just want to get, the thing I'm looking at the most closely is the asparagus because it cooks so quickly, and there's going to be some additional cooking that'll take care of the mushrooms as we go. So I'm going to move forward on this and get our ramen noodles ready. So drain those. You don't have to drain them excessively well because we're adding some other liquid to this along with them, and that will be about a cup of broth. I'm using chicken broth. If you wanted to use vegetable broth, works really well. Also to that, I'm going to add a little bit more vegetable oil. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of packed brown sugar. We're just going to let this come up to a nice boil. Got just a tiny bit more oil to that, just to give it a finish off. And when it comes to a boil, we'll add a couple of more ingredients as garnish, and this is going to be ready to eat. All right, I've got a tablespoon of finely chopped peanuts. If you've got other nuts, they would work too, but peanuts are kind of traditional here. So just sprinkle those over the top. You can use salted or unsalted, whichever you have. And then about a tablespoon of cilantro, which could be parsley if you're not a cilantro person. And there you have it. That becomes lunch for one or dinner. You could, I've thought about this, share it with somebody and make it sort of the appetizer course. But it's spring ramen. It's so good, I don't think you're going to want to. For Oklahoma Gardening, I'm Barbara Brown.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.